Two. All right. Hello and welcome to the potentially maiden voyage of the No-Show Hockey League 30 Thoughts podcast.
Actually, I'm pretty sure this is the maiden voyage.
Well, it could be like the Titanic, the main voyage is the last main voyage, or Randy Moss on the
Well,
Randy Titan or Patriots. Well, but hey, you never know it's the maiden voyage until it
fair enough.
ends, but you do know it's the maiden voyage when it begins. So
Ooh, that's a
here we
bar.
are. No, I was working on that in the shower. Here we are. This is, as the name implies, this is the No-Show Hockey League version of 32 Thoughts, except none of us are as big of dumbasses as Jeff Merrick, and none of us have sources like Elliot Friedman. But we're here to try to do both. So, I think without further ado, I think we need to, label what the podcast, this episode at least, is going to be about. And I'll start. It's going to be about the draft and all the things that happened about it. It was seen, like I talked with mainly a few people that are in the Grimace Fan Club VC, and a lot of them said this was going to be a somewhat weak draft. But yet people were chomping at the bit. And now we're only talking about the first two rounds, which were a drag. It took us about 3 days, and I understand there are time constraints and people being lazy, but it took us 3 days. That's an objective fact. And
People
there were a
being
lot
lazy.
I mean, come on now. I spent some time scratching my asshole before I took Rogalski. But I can report, because I'm doing this in this situation. There were 60 picks, and this I'll also include the third round, the first two picks with Denver and myself, Boston. I can report, and this is like the jaw dropper, that of the 60 picks in the first two rounds, the 62 in the first three, only 4 of them didn't have any type of contact or trade talk around them, from what I found out. So it was definitely, there was a lot of moving parts here. But I'd also like to circle back to the beginning here, and I would like to introduce both of our hosts, and just mainly from the no-show perspective. So I am the GM of the Boston Bukayos, named after Starboy Bukayo Saka, and across this hypothetical desk from me, 800 miles away in Alberta, is none other than Maxim Marish, who is the GM of the Alberta Aliens. And do you mind
Is it
giving
really
us a
800
spiel?
miles?
I just fucking guessed, man. Do you mind
All
giving us a
right,
little
fair enough.
spiel about your team?
Well, I'm a egotistical maniac that thinks my team is a lot better than it ever actually proves to be on the ice because I never seem to get it done in the big moments. But happy with my group. We'll see what we can do next year and the years to come. But that's not important right now. This is about the present day, the draft in the No-Show League, obviously still going on.
Now
Very
we
exciting
are
stuff
gonna
happening.
now we're gonna transition to draft talk here, and we're gonna keep it about you,
Oh,
surprisingly.
great.
So you were in a little bit of a price fight tango with Denver, who had the first overall pick, and we'll touch on him after this in a little bit more depth because there was a crazy story about that first pick that was leaked to the public. Now you took Klepov at 15, yes?
19. Yeah, I did.
19, yeah.
Very
And
happy with that
it
pick.
was
That's
reported
not
that
important.
Denver tried very hard to trade into this spot. And, when you play Who Goosed the Moose, eventually you're the goose that gets moosed. And later on, you wanted Villeneuve. And
Yeah.
of course, because that's how karma works, Denver took him. So could you at least, comment as the GM of the Alberta Aliens? Like, how does that sit in your stomach?
Well,
Like, you
I
got,
mean,
but you also missed out on
I
a
got
guy you
his
wanted.
guy. He got my guy. I think it's fair enough. I ended up going with Tommy Blau with my second pick, anyways.
Yeah.
Terrific defenseman. They're both out of the queue, both smaller guys, high offensive upside. I feel pretty good with who I got. And I hope he's happy with his pick, getting Villeneuve. And I do feel a little bad that I snagged his guy on him, especially because
Yeah.
he made a really good
He's
offer.
the
He
guy.
was really gunning to get that pick.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
ultimately, Klepov
yeah.
was an X factor for me. I wanted to get him on
Yeah.
my roster.
And how high was he initially on your board? Because I know you're pretty in touch with the scouting department. So how high was he on
Ooh,
your board?
well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't really even have Klepov on my radar until like the night before because I was kind of assuming he was, the smaller scoring winger type that I didn't really want in fantasy. But as I watched him a little more that night, I kind of zoned in on him as like, I'm just gonna go with the upside here. And you know what? If this guy turns into like a Dylan Holloway, I got a 6 point player on my hands anyways, which he very well could. This guy is a phenomenal player. So Yeah, I where I had him on my original board, I actually can pull it up. I actually don't know that I had him that high at all. That was kind of a as the draft developed
Yeah, for sure, for
type of
sure. And
pick.
I was, and I don't know how many teams Tabasco called to
Oh,
get
actually, I
Klepov. I
had
don't
him
know
at
how many teams he
19.
called in general,
I had Klepov
but
exactly at 19 where I took him.
I don't think it's crazy to say that the biggest offer Tabasco was involved with was one that he got sent by the Newcastle Humbugs, which was told to us in the general chats that there was an offer that would honor McDavid to the sunny side. Actually, no, he's based in Denver. So the high Rocky Mountains of Denver, in exchange for the first overall pick, it was expected to be a 1-to-1 rate, and I just that would have been. I'm not going to comment on it because I will probably never, not for a good 5 years, have the firepower to make a deal on either side of that spectrum. But I mean, you talk about a random
That's a
deal to
great
go
offer.
down. It's a phenomenal offer, and I also understand why Denver didn't roll with it. He's a little younger, but yeah, I mean, just that would have been a potentially league changing. I guess valued he valued his guy, and if we're speaking about trades and valuing as your guys, I think we're gonna have to go from Denver to Regina and look at the work that the Railers did. It has been well known that Ethan was incredibly high on forward prospect Oliver Savanto and forward prospect Gleb Pugachev, but I was also told that before the draft, people were throwing around spitballing rumors that his guys might get taken, and this spooked him. He traded up for both of them, and it's he got both of them, and that was not the last of his trade ups. I can confirm he called on about 90% of the picks in the second round and just
He
tried to
did
poke
tell me
around. He was
he did tell
dangling.
me he was consistently calling on every pick he could get his hands on just to see what people were offering and if he could get a deal. So
He
watch out. You get a call from Ethan Scouten.
Yeah,
May not be too friendly.
You're gonna get Leon Mugley. He dangled Leon Mugley like a ball of yarn, and
Aliens legend, by the way.
as
Our
we
original
know,
draft pick.
or as from what we know, unless some late night deal happens, it is 9:23 Central Standard Time here in Arkansas. There's no trades, and Regina might not make a move. We might not trade back up, but
But if he
yeah, I
does,
mean,
be sure we're gonna get a video of it because he
yes.
go look in
Now,
draft chat. He likes to record those.
Now, this is known and this is full on out there, but the plan for Regina this year is he is going to push olives into the McKenna or the DuPont pot. So if you have your pick
DuPont.
from Regina, DuPont, Land of DuPont. If you have your pick from Regina, it's gone. I'm sorry, you're not getting it back. So Maxim, like, what would be, if you're in his situation, how hard are you selling? Are you selling out prospects to continue to move up in this draft? Because I think, in
Well,
my opinion, the 2027 draft will be that
is
much
so
better than
much
the
better.
2026 draft.
We'll see.
And I
I
think it
do. I
starts
do
at the
feel
top.
like there's a little bit of a draft syndrome here that we say this. We get caught into this loop of saying this every year. Like people thought 2025 would be better than 2024. I think if we look back at that, 2024 is obviously a very strong class compared to 25 and this one now 26. We'll see what 2027 holds for us as the season develops.
Yeah, and
Obviously,
I think there are going to be a bunch of teams gunning for it. But I've heard this from the grapevine, and I've done the math to back it up. One of the teams that's in that mix, just due to the asset hoarding, is Turda, and I've been told from multiple GMs on multiple occasions that they're monitoring his prospect situation. I'm not trying to blow up his spot, but he is on track to be over have too many prospects in his prospect pool, which would cause him to drop. And I'd argue his back end of the prospect pool is arguably just as good as some teams' top end. So I do wonder how that would shake out. Um, and maybe he packages these prospects for more picks in 2028 and continues to reload the gun. Builds a strong enough team, but
well,
I'm not flying
as it
his wall and I'm not
stands
playing
right
him between his
now,
ears.
in the 2027 draft, he currently has 11 picks in the top 60.
Yeah, which
We
I mean
only
that's just
have
strength of
how
numbers,
many minor spots do we have in this league? We have 20 minor
I believe
spots in this
20.
league.
Yeah, I thought wasn't it closer to 25? No.
Um,
I wouldn't know off the top of my head. You're probably a little bit better on that.
well, actually, I don't know. Okay, it might be. It might be, yeah. Because I'm looking at his roster right now, and it has 19 skaters in his minors and 4 goalies in his minors. That it would be 23. Yep, that's good math.
Yeah. So, and then also because this is 30 thoughts, and we're going to try to include every single team. Idaho probably should have been the team that was picking. He won the lottery, but he didn't have control of his pick due to what I believe was a trade for Aiden Hill way back when under the old administration. So he has made it
The
well out
cosmic
there.
regime. It's who owned that team back in those days.
Yes. I am told that he is in the situation. He is going to sell their emphasis on the 2027 draft. So, I mean, just off the top of my head, there are 3 teams that are going to be gunning for DuPont. Who's the Russian center iceman?
Privalov.
Nazar Privalov. So, obviously, there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of tanking. There's going to be a lot of
And
tanking.
I do know, ear to the ground, Ethan Scouten, circling back on him, I know for a fact he will do everything he can to put both of those guys on his teams. That'll be a very interesting storyline to watch as we get into next year, especially because that roster, no offense to Ethan, I do like him as a manager and I like what he's doing with his team, but that roster has no chance of going far this year. They're all in on DuPont. Like you said,
Yeah.
pushing all the chips into the DuPont. He wants
Oh,
to get both of them.
I didn't even say DuPont. I just said DuPont really gay, like I was
Oh, I said
French.
DuPont.
Yeah,
It's okay.
but
Doesn't matter.
I think that kind of seals off the 2027 talk, and we can kind of rotate back into this one. And I was told that there was another trade that was nixed inside the top 10, and I eventually broke this to the chat, but I was told there was a deal between the Hartford Wolfpack, and I believe I can't even pronounce it's the Mykonos Mythos.
Mykonos Mythos. Yeah. This is
Mythos,
very
yeah,
interesting.
watch this. This was a very interesting deal. I was told that Zach Werenski would have been heading off to. Please say the team name again.
Mykonos, the Mythos.
Yeah, so I was told he was going to be sending off to that, and in exchange, Hartford would have gotten the 7th overall pick. And I believe there was a player that I was told was Alexi Lafreniere from one of the sides of the deals. And I believe that that deal got pretty far along to the point where it was getting to the final stages, and it just kind of faltered due to, I believe, something small like conditions. But I believe that again, I can't pronounce for the life of me.
The Mykonos
Mykonos,
Mythos.
yeah, okay. Um, he's pretty much he continues just like Ethan. He is taking a crack to trade for any like pretty much every single pick that there's. He's very proactive in this draft. He wants to trade up. He wants to be back in there. Um, but yeah, I mean
And
that
he
would have
ended up
been
taking Chase Reed. Phenomenal
yeah.
player. That pick would have been a part of that deal, obviously, as you were saying.
And I believe Hartford would have taken Chase Reed, just in my opinion, just based off organizational depth.
I can confirm he would have done that. He was talking to me about this deal a little bit. So
Yeah. Now, obviously, we can go back and we should talk about some of the draft trades. And I think what was the first draft trade? I believe it was I couldn't really get a quote or pull anything, but Turda and Bamberg traded up for Bamberg to acquire Schmitz. And this has left him in a little bit of a predicament. And I'm not going to because he has control of his team like a sleigh dog rider has control of the dogs. But I've talked to him and I've talked to people around him, and he's shopping around 2024 second overall pick Artyom Lashunov and I believe David Reinbacher. He's keeps this close to his chest. He's not going to really expose much and hasn't really gotten anywhere in negotiations, but those players are certainly out there, as well as Turda, once again, couldn't pull a quote, but he did get some more 2027 capital, I believe. And we do have to talk about a huge trade that did happen between. I'm going to let you take point on this because I believe you're a little bit more tapped in with both of these owners and GMs. Can you explain to me the philosophy behind the Buffalo and Stockholm trade that happened with pick 9, I believe, that sent, or pick 7, that sent Cordell into the late first round?
oh, To be honest, I kind of just flamed him for it. I actually don't really know what went on there. I think that was very tidy work for Buffalo, getting into
Yeah,
the top 10, getting his
and
hands on Vigo Bjork, who even in
and I mean
Winnipeg, I don't like that
also,
system very much, but
good players might break through that system. And, I'm going to just put this at Buffalo, and we're going to shell this one. But I'm told that he's making good progress on a McKinnon deal. Obviously, there's also players like Granlund and Uyghur, but, he's trying to, kickstart a little bit of rebuild, pump some air back into his tires. And I believe that McKinnon would definitely be a game changer. Those negotiations are going on, and I'm well aware of a few
and
teams that
on
are
Uyghur,
poking their nose in
further
there.
going to Hartford, working the phones for on the defenders between him having Werenski, almost moving him out in a deal for Chase Reed. I do know he was close to getting Uyghur as well. Whether or not
Interesting.
anything will materialize there going forward, or if it just completely fell through, I'm not sure. But I do know he was calling on Uyghur. Something almost went down there.
Yeah. Now, this is we're gonna go back to Stockholm for this part. He walked into the draft and he put his words out there that he was looking for quantity, and I think he actually got one of the better picks of the second. In the late second, he selected Jackson Cover, and even if you don't value him as some crazy prospect, I think just looking at the numbers side of it, I think looking at the fact that you got a first round prospect in the late second, you can't really go wrong with that.
There's a lot of
What he
runway
gave
here.
up to get him, there's a lot of runway here, but what he gave up to get that deal was a second and third to Brooklyn, and we'll touch on Brooklyn in a little bit because he had quite the first two rounds. But what he gave up, he also, as soon as that pick was submitted, received a trade offer for the exact same value. In fact, it was probably more for Cover. So, like, there was a GM out there who was in love with Cover, had the rug pulled out from under him, and decided to chase after him. Now, whether or not Stockholm pivots to that, we don't know. But it's definitely something to look out for because I feel like that would be an unlikely thing to see coming. But I think another trade, I don't want to forget it, was the trade between Hiroshima and Hershey Kuznetsovs. I'm
Oh
going to be
yeah.
honest. I'm going to let you talk about this one because I have my opinion and I just want to make sure we share
Well,
this.
I'll talk about the good, not the bad. I think Grant Mers and the program he's running in Hiroshima, which has been tremendous on all fronts. He acquired Matthew Schaefer last year. I could go on for an hour talking about how well of a job he's done in Hiroshima. But that deal specifically, I think it was Archam Duda and Emil Andre for that pick. I don't remember exactly who he drafted, but that was incredibly tidy work for him. And
Yeah.
I think he did very well there.
And I do wonder, I guess, Hershey probably valued, I, I think he made the deal in his best interest. I know he did. He's a GM in a good league.
I do know
But
he had two picks back to back, and the two guys that he wanted were the two guys that went with the two picks right in front of him.
yeah, and I guess, and we're going to talk on Hershey real quick. He was also very active. Like I said, a lot of teams were active in trading in to the second round, and he was one of the teams. And I'm fairly certain he's going to keep his nose in the third round. He wants to add another team. And while we're at it, I forgot a team that's going to be in the 2027 DuPont race. Montreal Voyageurs. If I butchered that, it's the Voyagers. I just tried to pronounce it like I was
Voyagers.
French. Um, he apparently is he or they. I don't know the gender. I sorry. I'm woke. Um, yeah, he's happy. He was happy. I believe he selected Stenberg second overall. Putting that out there.
He did, yep.
He did. So he's gonna be in the race. So it's gonna be like a 4-horse race for her, that 2027 first round pick, and it's gonna be a good one because the prospect at the end of the tunnel is that good. So I'm not gonna forget about
Game
Montreal
changers.
here as well.
Like this year, it's kind of tough, especially in our format, to look at this draft and look at Gavin McKenna and Ivar Stenberg, two wingers, which even though they may score a lot, probably top out at about a 7, maybe at best an 8 in this format, at
Yeah.
very
I
best.
think I think
Next
DuPont
year,
might
you
be
can
the
look at
first. Has
a
there ever been a
power
7-point
forward.
defenseman?
Oh, Kale McCarr.
Yeah, I
Here's
think
McCarr.
DuPont might be like a 7 to 8 point defenseman. I think he's that good.
DuPont
Um,
absolutely could be.
I have some small notes here on Vegas Eiffel Towers. Do you have anything else? I just said there was some heavy thought. They threw some stuff at the wall around it. Who took it for? But ultimately decided to take Maholtra. Do you have anything else on that?
Well, I don't know if there's any truth to this, but I know I was planning to take Verhoff at 5, as I did. And it did sound like for a little bit he might have gotten snagged in front of me. I don't know if there was any truth to that at all. Had it have happened, Chase Reed would be an alien right now. We would have been okay with that too. But enough about me, that doesn't matter. But there may have been something there. So there may have been a little bit of deliberation on the Malhotra pick, but ultimately I do believe he got the best player on the board. Because I was telling people if
Yeah,
Malhotra fell to me, it was going to become very difficult.
I think it's gonna be great top six center, win draws, play matchup minutes. But that's
He
more
doesn't even have to
heavy
be, for
talk.
what he does on the ice in this format, he does not even have to be a top liner. He just has to put up 60 points and he'll be a 7, 8 point player.
Now we're gonna talk about two first round picks in this draft that or actually just two picks in general. Um, I think the most significant thing that we can draw from New York is he traded in the first round, I believe, with um, the Hershey Kuznetsovs. And I gotta stop saying and I'm gonna catch myself. He traded, a futures based package for I believe pick 16, and with that pick, do you remember who he took? He took an LA Kings
Elton
draft prospect,
Hermanson.
Elton Hermanson, and I talked with a few people. They didn't have Hermanson around that range, but you have to respect it takes to trade assets for a draft pick that are producing. Because I know Stam Steel's like a 3.5, and while it's not insane value, those don't really grow on trees consistently. But yeah, you gotta respect the gamble he took there.
Hey, if you're sure about somebody, get up there and get your guy.
I was also told that a lot of people didn't see Lansing taking Hankinson in so early
Hawkinson,
into
yeah.
the second. Yeah, I was. I'm gonna blow up my own spot. I thought I might be
Oh,
able to get
Lansing
him.
didn't take Hawkinson. The dumpster
No, he
fire took
took.
Hawkinson.
Oh, no, 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 no. Yeah, that was oh, he did take someone though. He took
Gustafson?
yes, it was I believe it was his second round. First round pick was great. I believe he took Gustafson. I believe it was his second round pick that had a few people that I was talking to a little shocked because they thought he wasn't going to go
Well,
that
I don't know if he had
early.
another one. I do remember he took Wigo Sorensen, though. Pretty sure.
Yes, it was
Yeah, he
Sorensen.
did.
Oh, my apologies. My apologies. Talked with a few people. They didn't really see him there. I don't know how he evaluates talent. It's probably better than the way I do, so I'm not going to fault him for it. Take your guy if your guy's there. Now, let's get to. I think we've talked a lot about this draft here, so I think we can get to the more juicy Lucy stuff. But we have to start with the more qualm stuff, with the juicy Lucy stuff. I'm told that the Chugwater Thunderbirds zero dark 30 for the rest of the offseason. They're not pushing for anything. We'll see if that sticks, obviously, but there's not an incentive to move the needle in any one of the directions. So maybe if you're thinking about, oh, can I get this piece from Chug, or would Chug take this pick to get so I can get this player, vice versa? It's probably not going to happen. I think he's set where he is, and he's going to see where he ends up
And he
next
wants to
season.
try and be a little bit competitive.
He wants to kind of push some things, and even though that might have been a reference to Chug's gimmick, I am told that
He will enjoy that. If he listens to this, he will enjoy that.
the Seattle McMahon handlers
What
are
a name.
definitely if they're on the actually I can't even make a joke about that. They're pushing their way up the Seattle needle. There we go. They they made a bunch of they added
Yeah,
Kane,
serious talent.
Wallman, obviously the hurdle trade earlier. They're looking to make a push. I don't know the status of their division and how easy it would be, but it's certainly a team that's kind of trying to kickstart it, and maybe he
Well,
might. That'll
I do
be
think this league is so polar that if you just decide, if you have some mild assets accumulated and you just decide you want to make the playoffs, you can definitely get very close.
yep.
Can you go
And
far in
another
the
team
playoffs? That's where it becomes very difficult, but you can get in.
and another team we're not going to forget the Miami Tides. They're in the same boat as Chugwater. They're not really going to move the needle in any way, shape, or form unless something comes across the table that just makes them think, okay, it's time to move the needle.
Which is fair
Now,
enough.
now we can start, kind of progressing into the more juicy Lucy stuff. Do you want to start with the McKinnon talk, or do we want to start with what happened with Hartford and Boston?
Um,
Oh no, not Hartford and Brooklyn. Apologies.
let's go with the Hartford Brooklyn angle. I think this is going to be pretty fun.
Now, do you want to tell the story, or can I tell it? Because
You go for it. You go for it because I
no,
wasn't there for all of it.
I was told that around the third of the second, the back end of the second near the third, Bamberg was picking, and there was an attempt by Hartford to trade up one spot to select his guy. I was lucky enough to get a deal done with Bamberg, and I found out through Bamberg who Dom's guy was, and Nick caught wind of this, and Nick was not happy because Beckham Edwards was his guy, and I told Nick, I was like, hey, Dom might take your guy. I'd be willing to move the pick, slide back a few spots, because I believe Nick was the next pick in the draft, and Nick is the GM of the Brooklyn. And Nick called my bluff, which it wasn't a bluff, so his ass got spanked. But he was not happy. He was not happy. He believes that Hartford leached off of some of his intel, and while I don't expect anything crazy to happen here, I do expect for that to be a pretty
Well, I
funny
can say Nick
conversation.
did tell us that there would be words. So there may be
There would be
a
words,
confrontation coming on the way.
yeah. And we're gonna stay on the topic of Brooklyn. Another juke the counter.
And also, as somebody that's worked in tandem in the department of scouting with Brooklyn, Nick, I do know for a fact he is very high on Beckham Edwards. This is a player that he had ranked inside the first round. He would have done whatever, should have done whatever it would have taken to get him because this was a player he was very high on.
Um, Brooklyn was in possession of the 56th and 60th pick. He is one of the few GMs that was proactively trying to trade down. Last I checked, I do not think he made a pick in the first two rounds, but he's acquired some pretty good compensation for the 27 and 28 draft. Obviously, hindsight is everything, so we'll have to see in 2027 and 2028 how this goes. But I'm very interested in looking to see what he does with those picks, whether he sells them off to get pieces or he drafts assets into his prospect pool.
As it stands right now, looking at this draft, I do think he made the right decision to slide out.
Mm-hmm.
But
He got he
time will
got he
tell.
got very proactive eye. Once yes. Can we think of anything else? Or well, there is one more thing. There are two more notes that we're not going to forget about. Melbourne Ice, fellow Arsenal fan. Actually, there's four.
Boo.
No. There's not boo boo boo.
Yeah, boo. GMU.
Fellow Arsenal fan. He's looking to improve his roster. I don't know what his draft capital compensation is, but he's out there. He's looking to improve a roster. So if you have a player you might want to sell, I would open a line of communication with Melbourne. You might be able to get something done. I traded Hulla for a third and a fourth. Very straightforward negotiator. Sends you stuff that he likes. Send you stuff. I'm done pumping his tires, mainly because he's an Arsenal fan. He strikes me as a great guy. But
He is
if
a
you
great
want a
guy. He's
deal
fun.
done,
He's super fun to talk to. Super smart
yeah,
guy.
super smart guy. Now, there is another shout out I have to give. What's the new team? Piscine? I don't want to mispronounce the name. The
The
Predators.
Tyson Predators. I do not actually know
Bison
how it's pronounced.
Predators, first draft under new management after the great Shorzy left us. The Montreal Dildos will never be forgotten.
The
He burned
Montreal.
his. It's his first draft with as the GM, and he burned his second to keep Galvis. We'll see how the offense for him, and we'll also see how Galvis moves along. I think it was a somewhat smart deal overall. I think he got drafted to the
I think it
Penguins,
was
right?
measured. If you pay attention to the World Juniors and you watched Galvis back in January, there's definitely a player there. We'll see if he can translate his game to the professional level. But
Mm.
for sure, there's a player there.
I think it's well with what was available around there. I think it's the correct
Well worth
move.
it.
Now, okay. Vegas Mojave is shopping around a few pieces just to get some assets back. There's nothing really, cataclysmic happening here in either direction, either pole. Have an offer, you might want to shoot it by Vegas Mojave, and that's our quote unquote thought on him. Now, I think we can get to some more nitty gritty stuff, but we're going to start with Thunder Bay, who shopped a lot of his first round picks before and during the draft.
Very
multiple suitors
surprising.
for a
This is
first
a
round pick.
general manager that I'll say I don't believe has been the most active of all the GMs in the league recently, but became very active for draft weekend or draft week, whatever you want to call it, as
I
we're
was
now in day
told
3.
he told the league that he would dangle Sam Rinzel. He wanted a deal done. I don't remember if he got one done. I know he didn't get 2 done, but he ended up Adam Novotny. Like, do you know the guy's name?
Novotny?
Adam Novotny, yeah.
Novotny, yep.
And I'm told on good faith that a team that was very, very into these negotiations and tried to get the pick was the Brooklyn Aviators. Whether or not what that package would have been surrounded with, I don't know. I do know with prior negotiations, Brooklyn, I'm not going to say the full government. Sorry, Nicholas Jans. But
Oh, there you
I
go.
know I don't know how much you've traded him with, but when you throw around picks, oh my God, again, Brooklyn tends to throw picks back. So I wonder if that would have been a pick swap, pick compensation, maybe with Rinzel in there. It would have gotten interesting. But I think that
And it's
covers
dead and
everything.
buried now, but I do wonder who he would have taken there.
I do.
Can't imagine
Now,
he would have taken Edwards that high, but I know he was up there on his board.
San Jose, they're interested in moving Luke Hughes. They're trying to find a deal. He likes Luke Hughes, but he obviously doesn't like him enough to like lock him in as a key piece. He's looking for an offer he likes. You know, maybe if you're looking for a defenseman, you can shoot around Luke Hughes. He has been
Big young
shopping
guy with
picks to
upside,
improve
hit
his
his
roster.
line.
He has been shipping around picks to improve his roster. Now, this is hopefully we're done with the more stagnant part and the radio talk show part, and we can kind of get into the, opinionated parts here. So I'm going to let you talk about what Pompey is doing, Pompey's pit, in your opinion.
Pompey's pit. Okay, well, he opened up his offseason trading for Cale Makar. That absolutely massive. And ever since he's been shopping Cale Makar and he's been shopping the older players on his roster, maybe he's pointing towards more of a rebuilding direction in Pompey, heading back into the pit. But all things considered, I remember that Makar deal. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I do think he got him for a fairly strong deal. And I don't want to say in his favor, but I think he got a solid deal to bring Makar in. I think both teams did well there, actually. But, you get a chance to bring in a guy like that, you do it. Um, I've heard, sorry, I just need a drink of water there. I've heard Will Smith's name has been tossed around. That is something to keep an eye on, especially because we know this is a player that the general manager in Pompey is absolutely in love with. He traded for Will Smith. It was a very big deal to get him on that roster, and already so quickly he's back in trade talks. I don't know. Maybe there was a falling out there or something. We have to see how that progresses. But Will Smith, his name's out
Yeah.
there.
I think
If
he's
he
been
interests you,
kind of
take a
flirting.
look.
He's been flirting. I've talked about the pendulum before. And you ever seen those things that are sometimes in doctor's office where they go from one side to one side really quickly, like make a semicircle?
Yep.
If there are other GMs that are like the grandfather pendulum, pump the things you see in the doctor's office that go side to side really quickly. I kind of want to look up what they're named, but I
Or
couldn't
you could
bother
also
really.
say, if we're talking about a doctor's office, he's the knee-jerk reaction of general managing in this league. I do think he is one of the general managers in this league that has nobody on that team is safe. He will make a deal with you. If you can give him something he likes, he will make a
Now,
deal. So that's always interesting to keep
transitioning to
an eye on
safe
them.
prospects, there are 2 prospects on the Denver Dumpster Fires. Caleb Desnoyer, and what is the name of the other one?
Ijiginla.
DJ Ginla. There is a lot of smoke. There is enough smoke to build build a really good bark on a brisket around those 2 prospects. He's very open to dealing them. He's dangled them before. He dangled them multiple times for firsts and seconds this year. He might dangle them for thirds, obviously with some more compensation on the third side. But
I do
he's
know ever
very
since Denwye was drafted, he has been open to moving him and had him in
he's
trade
very
talks.
open. He's very open. And of course, we're going to talk about his pick. Maxim, you're a fairly intact GM. What do you like about Carson Carell's in this format?
Carson Corrales, well, I got to tell you, I love that he's going to Calgary. I love the fit in Calgary, especially for fantasy. I don't really know that there was potential to be an incredible power play quarterback here, but I think he's a guy that will chip in, especially in our format being a multi-cat format. there's real boom potential here because he will block, he will hit, he is physically commanding on the ice, and playing alongside potentially a guy like Zane Parekh with the Flames. It is going to be very interesting to see the offense that can be unlocked by Zane. And actually, it's interesting to see what Carroll's can unlock for Zane as well, because
Yeah, a little
when you
bit more
have
of a
a
stay-at-home guy.
policeman when you have a policeman like Carson Carroll's playing next to you, you can take some more risks. And I think that's going to pay off in loads, in absolute strides for both of these players. I love the Carroll's pick for the Denver Dumpster Fire. I think he's going to have to be changing that name soon if he keeps drafting like that. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about that. He was one of my top ranked defensemen in this class for sure.
Yeah, I think that does it. Now we get to the best part of the conversation. Nathan MacKinnon's name is not only out there, but I'm told that BFG is somewhat close to finalizing a few deals with two teams in particular. The first is Newcastle, who I don't, but he was the team that offered up McDavid for McKenna. So I don't know why he wouldn't want McDavid and McKenna on the same team personally as a fantasy manager, but he's out
Well,
there. He's very
these could be contrasting things too. It might have gone one direction or the other.
yeah, I might have pivoted, I guess, after not getting one.
Like the pendulum swinging in the doctor's office.
I think that's a fair take. Now, I think this is the more, juicy one. And I'm going to blow up my spot here. I did DM Utah and asked him if he knew anything about anyone, and I did this to a few people. Those are my quote unquote sources. Utah's the only one that's getting beer. This comes from Utah, and I'm going to say his words. He kept most things, he kept a lot of his stuff to his chest, but the one thing he would say to me, he believes the MacKinnon deal is coming within the next week, and he confirms that he had, and this is not him saying it, but I can confirm from someone that I talked to that Hagens was a big part of his pitch in those negotiations. And there are a lot of suitors. There are two main ones, but there's a bunch of people on the outside looking and just trying to see if they can get a crack at the guy that missed the wide open net for Canada.
Okay,
And
we don't
with
got to do
that,
that.
we are going to do that. Shot scores. Jack Hughes wins it. The
Okay.
golden goal for the United States.
Sidney Crosby, the golden goal.
That was during the Bush administration. Actually, it was during the Obama administration.
All right.
I think
McDavid did it
with
a year
that,
ago. I'm down.
with it's Four Nations, doesn't matter. So actually, Boston. I'm gonna be honest. I saw Rogalski there. I saw he went in the early second. I saw him mocked in the first. Too much potential there for me to not take a gander at him, and I got to
Are we
take him.
ending this with a Brooks Rogowski op-ed?
No, I'll end it with a Samu Aluwari one if we want to, but I was thinking we could get a little professional. So yeah, that's gonna do it for the first episode. We clocked in at about, guess how long it took? Take a
I
wild
have no
guess.
idea. Tell me. 40 minutes?
No, oh, you're close. It took us 38 minutes, and it felt like 15.
Well, let's get it to
This
40. I got to tell you, Utah potentially tossing James Hagens into a MacKinnon deal is very interesting because that is a player that he is higher on than anybody else in this league. I know for a fact he thinks that guy has
yeah,
9-point potential, which he may look very smart for in the very near future. We will
and
see.
he's
Anyways, that's
American.
all I got for you on that.
Yeah, so
That's why he'll
hopefully
fail.
this,
American.
hopefully, no. Jack Hughes wins at the Golden Goal.
One
Hopefully this
time,
isn't the
46
last.
years.
Hopefully this isn't the World Championships. Hopefully this isn't the last one.
Did you just say world championships?
Tage Thompson, OT winner,
Okay.
baby.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Silver Crosby was too busy larping as the captain,
Silver
getting hurt like a
Crosby, who
baby.
has 2 Olympic gold medals.
No, we're not doing that gimmick, bro. Those don't count. Those are during
Those don't count?
the
All
woke
right.
Obama administration. That's gonna do it for the first episode.
This was fun.
This was fun. Yes, this is very cool. I don't know how it's recording. Obviously, I don't know how I'm going to distribute it to anywhere other than YouTube, but it's going to be distributed somewhere. It's like crack cocaine; it'll find a home. Maxim, do you have any more thoughts on the initial episode of the 30 Thoughts? Yeah, we're just gonna call
I
it
think
30
this
Thoughts,
was
right? That's
great.
not trademarked.
I can't wait to do this again. And by the way, if this is 30 Thoughts, I know this is your show, so you are the Elliot Friedman, but I don't like Kyle Bukakis very much, or whatever the hell his name is. So I am
Oh, so
Jeff
you're
Merrick. We're
gonna go?
bringing him
Oh my
back.
goodness. Okay, yeah. Just don't leak the draft information.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So
no,
with that, we're gonna put a bow on this. I'm gonna see
this is
if I
great. I
can
can't wait to do this again.
somehow. I'm gonna see if we can I can somehow get this on YouTube or like Apple Podcasts. I'm fairly certain you have to be licensed for that though. Max, any final words on the first 2 rounds of the draft and any words of encouragement? Maybe when the next episode might be if the
Okay.
McKinnon deal
Let me
breaks.
let me end my little spiel with this. I just love that this league, we have our very own Steve Staios, Cordell Reynolds, general manager of the Stockholm Skull. It's just absolutely beautiful. Just managing like it really is the big leagues, just like the Ottawa Senators. Steve Staios.
I'm
I
gonna
hope you're
defend
listening,
him.
buddy.
He came in and decided that he wanted volume, and he got volume. Are we gonna fault a man for getting what he wants? No.
Yep.
Okay, that's okay.
He
Now
gave
this is
up
gonna
the more-
this is gonna do it. We're not gonna let this. We're not gonna let this run on for an extra 5 minutes. That's
Okay.
gonna do it for the first episode. Hopefully this isn't the last one. Hopefully I can get this published. Hopefully the file doesn't percolate and explode. I made
Live
it.
long and prosper.
Live long and prosper, Charlie. Hopefully we'll see you in the next one.